What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. You'll notice that yet again there is a change of scenery behind me. If you want to hear the story about that, I'm going to be putting it at the tail end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. But in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Rayquaza because it was featured in raids during the Dragon Week. A lot of people are, of course, going to be getting themselves some Rayquaza candy, wondering how good is Rayquaza. I've done a deep dive in the past, but we've seen a lot of Dragon-type Pokemon come along, so we're going to be talking about this Pokemon from a raid side, from a PvP side, talking about whether or not you want to use it from the Dragon typing as well as the Flying typing, and then finally taking a look at the future value of this Pokemon as well in the Mega Form evolution, and I can promise you things are looking promising for that. But as always, if you do enjoy the deep dive series, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So let me know in the comments section below, were you lucky enough to get yourself a shiny Rayquaza? I'm actually still on the hunt for one, but let me know if you were lucky enough to get one. But anyways, when we go ahead and dive into the stats for Rayquaza, it is a dragon as well as a flying type Pokemon that's definitely worth mentioning. And as far as its best stat is concerned, it's actually its attack stat at 284. That's ranked at 37th in Pokemon Go, with all of the Mega Evolution Pokemon being included in the ranking, so that is definitely impressive. On the flip side though, its defense stat is seriously lacking as far as its ranking is concerned at 257th. That's really bad. But despite that, it still maintains an overall ranking of 53rd in Pokemon Go. And like I said, this includes the Mega Evolution Pokemon as well as Mega Rayquaza, still maintaining a ranking of 53rd, which is very impressive. So anyways, if we go ahead and take a look at the stats for the Mega Rayquaza, you're going to look at this and go, no, there is just absolutely no way that Niantic would end up putting this in this way. And I completely agree with you. An attack stat of 354. That's just insane. So that's actually ranked at 4th. There's a couple of other ones that actually get up above it. But then other than that, the defense stat also improved. So the attack stat went up big time, the defense stat went up big time, and then the stamina is, I believe it's actually going to be staying the same just because of the way that it works, where it was already nerfed because Rayquaza was past 4,000 CP, so you're going to see a neutral staying of the stamina. So it's basically a major upgrade in defense and a major upgrade in attack, and this Pokemon is already amazing from a statistical perspective. So an overall ranking of 12. Ladies and gentlemen, if you aren't so excited about Rayquaza now, wait until the Mega comes out. That's going to be absolutely insane. So anyways, we can go ahead and take a look at the moveset quickly. And taking a look at this, I haven't looked at it in a while. There's literally been no changes to this Pokemon once it got released. No extra moveset, no exclusive move, no nothing like that. So technically speaking, there's still going to be a little bit of an upside to Rayquaza beyond just the Mega Evolution if we can get some new moves added in. But as far as the moveset that we'll be taking a look at today, we're going to be taking a look at Dragon Tail, Air Slash, Outrage, and then finally Aerial Ace as well, and taking a look at it from the raid side from the Dragon typing as well as the Flying type. Really, the Flying type is just a little bit of a novel thing because this Pokemon is just so amazing. It should be able to do pretty good from the Flying type, despite Aerial Ace not necessarily being that great of a move. So beyond just talking about it, let's go ahead and take a look at some of those simulations. So anyways, versus a Reshiram, we're of course going to be taking a look at it from the Dragon typing. We can see that there are a few Shadow non-legendary Pokemon as well as just the regular Rampardos taking on that #1 position, but as far as the Dragon typings are concerned, Rayquaza is one of the best performers as a non-Shadow option. Of course, with Shadow Salamence, you'd have to have the exclusive move Outrage, so that's probably going to be pretty rare, as well as the Shadow Dragonite. But the first regular Dragon-type attacker, we've got Rayquaza in at the #1 position, slowly but surely beating out Dialga. But the main difference and the main complaint that people have had with Rayquaza overall is really just its fragileness, especially compared to other Dragon-type Pokemon. So as you can see, we've got 35 feints here versus something like a Dialga that gets 25. So if you're in a hurting for the revives and stuff, Rayquaza is one of those that you just are like, you know, it's a glass cannon for sure. It's going to get out a lot of damage, but it's also going to end up feigning a lot. So that's something to consider. But what are my personal options for it? I like to use Salamence. I mean, Salamence is not that far behind. We're talking about a 7-second split difference here and then Salamence only getting 1 extra faint, and I caught a bunch of those in the wild, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. But of course, when you've got the Mega Rayquaza as well as the Mega Salamence, I still think that that separation is just going to grow even further in Rayquaza's favor, so definitely favorable for the future. But anyways, if we go ahead and take a look at the flying type, so Moltres is going to take over that #1 position as just a regular Pokemon, no Shadow, nothing like that. And then Shadow Mewtwo, just so amazing, it can definitely keep up with the rest of them despite the flying type being double effective against Virizion in this case. But anyways, if we go ahead and scroll down to the #6 spot, we've got Rayquaza here. So that's just a little bit of a novel thing. That's honestly kind of interesting to just kind of keep in mind. Pokemon like Honchkrow doing pretty good, but Rayquaza gets 15 faints. So that's probably something to consider, but I know a lot of people will ask about that. So of course I can help you decide whether or not you want to use it from the dragon typing as well as the flying typing. So anyways, now that we have covered it from a raid side, let's go ahead and briefly talk about it from a PvP side now. The news is not necessarily good. Its best ranking happens in the Master League, so you would have to, of course, fully power it up, and you want to have Dragon Tail, Outrage, and then Aerial Ace. But the issue is that the score is extremely low. It's ranked at 96. You're going to do better with some cheaper options, some non-legendary options, some other Dragon-type Pokemon over something like a Rayquaza, but it does get a little bit of usefulness versus something like a Kyogre, a Groudon, Rhyperior. I mean, those are definitely fairly common Pokemon in the Master League. And then something like a Garchomp as well is a little bit exotic, but yeah, that's something to kind of consider, but it loses to just a lot of the common core, which is what makes Rayquaza not that great of an option from the PvP side. But I would imagine that most people want to, of course, use it from the raid side in this particular case. So anyways, we go ahead and move on to the final discussion of what I'm recommending for Rayquaza. I think Rayquaza has held on to the #1 position for a very long period of time, but as time has gone on, more legendaries have come out, and there's just so many legendary Pokemon of the dragon typing, stuff like Reshiram, Zekrom, those types of Pokemon as well. And I think Rayquaza has just kind of like slipped a little bit in time, but at the end of the day, the Mega will end up coming out, and there's also some future value as far as the exclusive move is concerned for Rayquaza. I think it's called Dragon Ascend, but let me know in the comment section below. But the point is that Rayquaza has not reached its full potential as far as a moveset is concerned, or as far as the Mega Evolution is concerned. So that's something that you're definitely going to have to consider, but I honestly think it is worth powering up for the long term, so I'm definitely giving it the seal of approval. So anyways, now let's go ahead and get into a little bit of some story time. So a couple of months ago, I moved out of my apartment, had the studio set up, all of that stuff. Everyone absolutely loved the studio, but here's what happened. I was working on getting a house built, but then with COVID happening, it got delayed. And it got delayed to a very awkward time of 4 months. Now, for those of you out there who have rented out of apartments, you really have like a couple options. You could go month to month, you could maybe do a 3-month and then a month to month, but the apartment complex that I was in, it just went up almost by 100% as far as the cost is concerned to do a 3-month. They don't like people doing that. They just want people to do like a yearly lease. So I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna pay twice as much in this apartment. So ended up moving in with some family temporarily, which is what really explains the last setup that a lot of people, noticed. And then finally, after a month of that, I ended up moving into another place that I'm getting a 3-month lease with. So in total, 4 months before the house is finally getting built. And then at that point in time, I will end up setting up the studio and doing all of that stuff. But as far as this background is concerned, it's definitely not distracting. There's just really not anything going on with it. But I just wanted to let everybody know it's basically because of some complications around COVID, just in general, and having to move a ton to try to get like the best pricing possible, and of course save up as much money as possible to make a down payment on a home. Yeah, fun stuff. So anyways, let's go ahead and end this off with a question of the day talking about Rayquaza. How excited are you about Rayquaza? What do you think about the shiny variation? What do you think about the Mega Evolution for Rayquaza? Anything and everything, let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you next time. Huge shout out to the supporters over at Patreon. If you would like to get exclusive perks, make sure to check out that link in the description, and I will see you next time.